Oh, and the press begins for Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2. Now, we had loads and loads and loads of mainstream media shilling hard for The Rings of Power Season 1. I remember the Vanity Fair video was utterly hilarious that they released. And then when when the embargo lifted for the reviews, Vanity Fair was one of the people that absolutely tore it apart, which is just hilarious and really does go to show the amount of money that Amazon Prime gave people to give good reviews. So we're back now. Season 2's on the way, and they've already begun the press tour. They've begun shilling hard. Because this moved from New Zealand to now being filmed in the UK. And recently there was even a fire like in the studio space. Oh, it's an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. But yeah, like I said, we're now... The shilling has begun. The great shilling for the Rings of Power has begun. So this is a Deadline article. And it says, Rings of Power cast T Season 2. And Morfydd Clark, who plays Galadriel, confirms that Galadriel will become acquainted with Nenya. Ooh. Ooh. Ugh. Goodness me. I mean, look, at least this will provide endless content for YouTubers, such as myself, which tear at a new one, week on, week out. And I actually wanted this to be... I wanted it to be good. I like Lord of the Rings, but goodness me, they just couldn't do it, could they? They could not do it. They really fudged this up. They really did. Amazon Prime bought the rights to nothing. They bought the rights to the appendices. Like, what are you doing? Idiots. And then you've got the Embracer Group that's now just owns the Lord of the Rings and can basically, well, now are confirmed to start making movies again. So, Amazon Prime... Jeff Bezos absolutely screwed themselves. Utterly hilarious stuff. But here's subscribe if you're new here. Let's dive into this and let's have a good laugh at everyone else's expense, shall we? So Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power will sparkle much more when it returns. Alright. Calm down. Morfydd Clark revealed that Galadriel will be among the characters to receive a special piece of jewellery in Season 2. Oh, what, you mean that thing which they absolutely teased at the end of Season 1? Yeah, of course, no shit. Like, of course. She's about to have a life-changing thing happen to her. She's about to become acquainted with Nenya, her ring. It's really exciting to see how the magic creeps in. Clark said at the show's FYC event in Hollywood on Sunday, speaking alongside her castmates who are all on break from shooting in the UK. I do wonder as well, actually, how the writer's strike affects stuff in the UK, because it's different, you know. It is different over here. I wonder whether that will affect anything. Interesting stuff. Anyway, side note there. So the 3 elven rings were forged in the Season 1 finale of the fantasy series, set 1,000 years before the events of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit by Celebrimbor with the help of Sauron. You remember Halbrand? That was not Sauron, that definitely was Sauron, because of course it was Sauron the whole time. For goodness sake. So anyway, according to Lord of the Rings lore, one of the elven rings is worn by Galadriel, the second is worn by Círdan, a character that will be introduced in Season 2, and Gandalf, who has yet to make an appearance on the show, although it looked like it would. If that is Gandalf, by the way, in the end of Season 1, or the wizard that was in Season 1, that's completely wrong as well. They've messed it up. They've completely messed it up. Like, hugely. And then the third is being worn by Galad and Elrond, both characters already on the show. So there were some other rings forged by Sauron in the lore, include 7 for dwarf lords and 9 for men, and the powerful one ring to rule them all by Halbrand himself. So Morfydd Clark continued, of course, and said to Deadline, when we finished Season 1, the rings were being made and we knew it was going to be a huge change for Middle-earth. Galadriel is going to be part of that change because she has her own ring. I mean, okay. Regarding what fans can expect from her character next season, Clark teased, "She's trying to see the light through the darkness. Oh my god, will she actually smile?" And not that weird shit-eating grin she had on the horse, which was very bizarre and incredibly off-putting. I do wonder. This is the thing. I remember season 1, you know, they said how much they had so much to do, and it was scene setting, and please do stay tuned for season 2. And it's like you have to put something in season 1 which is likable, for goodness sake. You can't fall back on season 1 and be like, well, actually, you know, season 2 could be the actual season that we want to watch. Is it really? How can you do that with season 1? So additional rings will also be forged when the show returns, but which characters will score new bling? Ugh, deadline. Terrible. Anyway, so we had this statement from Peter Mullen. "There are more rings. The show is called The Rings of Power. Maybe I'll be getting a new necklace. Who knows?" Peter Mullen said, who portrays King Durin III in the series. So, yeah, interesting. So obviously, he confirmed that his character's relationship with his son, Prince Durin, gets very problematic. Yeah, no shit, because of course, the Balrog gets released. "My guy goes through some things that change him. So his son is reacting to a very different father. He's not the father that you see. He's someone else." Interesting. I mean, none of this gets you excited, does it? Like, this is all just crap. It really is. For goodness sake. And then you've got Ishmael Cruz Cordova, who played Arondir. He chimed in here as well. It's all mindless nonsense. It doesn't get anyone excited. "We're in a time of relative peace in season 1, and all that gets shaken up. Now we're dealing with the aftermath of this big evil that is now concrete. We got the guy now. Sauron is here. In season 2, we're grappling with that. These characters are grappling with their elvishness or their dwarfness, with their humanity and their loves. What you're going to see is the depth of our reality and how it is expressed. That's where it all takes off." I mean, he's literally said nothing. Like, this is the biggest load of shite ever. It really is garbage. How do they expect anyone to get excited? I mean, they lost consistently viewership in season 1. This is the start of their press tour. How are you going to get anyone involved? Like, you've made people check out as it is. This is not getting people excited. At all. Now, the actress, Sophia Nomvit, who played Princess Disa, who was actually really good, she came out and said this: "There was real excitement in last season because everything felt so new, and I was like a rabbit in the headlights. In season 2, I felt like I wore the backpack of my experiences. Disa was already built, and she was there with me, and there was a sheer excitement to delve into this new story." Again, just nothing. "Season 2 was about me walking in with more strength and more confidence than I had before. I hope it pays off." Sure, fine. I mean, Princess Disa was funny, but this is, again, all nonsense. Nothing is interesting here. Literally nothing. How is this going to get anyone excited? Utter crap. Serious crap. And then we have the commentary about Prince Durin. So what I like about Elrond is that he's quite similar to Durin in that they're different from where they come from. Elrond is half human and Durin thinks outside of the box. Going against his father's word in the first season was massive for Durin. He did that for Elrond, for the greater good and for the elves. That bond and that looking outside of the box and looking away from their own culture is what holds them together. I feel like they've got a plan to make the world a better place. I mean, this is an exercise in saying so much, but not saying a single word. Absolute garbage. There really is nothing of note here. And the reason why I'm covering this is because this is literally the start of their press tour, and this is what you get. It's absolute shite. It really is. Fast forward to season 2, the love and support were concrete. There's that word again. I still get emotional thinking about it. The impact that it had was no longer in a vacuum. I had thousands of hands holding me and pushing me. And this is, again, yeah. By the time we started shooting, I'd already faced a year of backlash, a lot of negativity, death threats, racism, and all that. I knew going in that I would have to be bulletproof to prove to all these people that I belong here. What? this is the Ishmael Cruz Cordova. I'm sure he did have death threats, but probably not that many, like at all. And to say that you belong there, technically you actually don't, because that's not what elves were supposed to be, created by Tolkien. So technically you don't belong there, but whatever. You keep going, I guess. I knew in the abstract what I was doing before, but now I know the faces of those I did and still do it for. Now I feel even more galvanized and like I finally have a break from having to constantly prove that I belong. I've always known that I belong, and now I feel like I can soar. Oh, fucking Jesus. This is their press tour. What a part of absolute garbage. I mean, it really is garbage. This is not going to get anyone excited. You've already started playing the racism game. You've already started playing... Get ready for Season 2, ladies and gents, of the Rings of Power. Absolute crap.